Hello everyone, it's me again, Lucky-kyun, and for today's video, we will be having an art talk. Well, there's a lot of beginner artists who's actually struggling to improve their art, maybe because they forgot to study some important things. So what are those important things that they forgot to study and could be the reason why they are struggling? Before everything else, I want to let you know that I'm still giving away my XP Pen Artist 15.6 Pro once I reach 20,000 subscribers. All you need to do is to subscribe to my channel, then go to this video or click the link on the description below, answer my question, who is your favorite artist, and write down your answer to the comment section of that video. So I'm just gonna put some video time-lapse here while I'm talking because it's much more easier for me to talk without looking to the camera. It's really important to have an art talk because it really helps us improve. You can watch a time-lapse video while listening to me, or you can just listen while doing something else. I mean, I always do that. Every time I work into something, I have to listen to art talks, so I can learn something new while working. So I've been joining some art groups and some of the members out there asking for help, and most of them is actually having the same problem. And what could be those problems? It is the fundamentals in art. There's a lot of things to learn in drawing fundamentals, and most beginner artists nowadays fails to comply it, especially to those who skip traditional art and jump right away to digital art. That includes artists who uses phone. Well, I'm not really against them. I'm not really against to any digital art because I'm also a digital artist myself. The logical reason behind this is that when you are a digital artist, colors are easier to access. So usually most of their mindset, colors can make anything better. So does color could really make it better? Well, it is true, but not actually true. I mean, colors could make it better, but if you only use it correctly. But if you're doing it wrong, then colors don't do much very well. If you're not sure about your tonal values and color theories, maybe everything will go wrong. Another issue about digital artists who skip traditional art is their fundamentals on anatomy, gestures, proportion, and a lot of things that you don't necessarily need to color. As like what I said, because the accessibility on colors, they skip those fundamentals, which is really important to give life to your drawing. In traditional art, since you don't have any easy access to colors, well, of course, except for the color pencil, which is actually a little bit expensive, or Copic marker, whatsoever, you'll be forced to learn tonal values. But of course, if you're not really aware of what you're doing or you're doing it wrong, eventually you'll just gonna skip everything, every important thing again, and tries to finish your drawing without having any awareness that you're not actually applying any basic fundamentals to your drawing. Of course, if you are a newbie, you only knew anatomy. No one tells you about gestures. No one tells you about form and construction. No one tells you about placement and proportion. Just like what I know when I'm still a beginner. You only knew the word anatomy because it's popular, and also the tonal value. In fact, the tonal values isn't really that popular. Some might think that tonal values are boring because it's just black and white, but it is actually helpful when it comes to color, to put some little depth on your drawing. Anatomy isn't really that great as well if you don't know anything about gestures. Everything interconnects. Learning other fundamentals is as hard as how you're trying to learn colors. One is nothing without the other, especially when you're a fan on making splash arts, like, those awesome artworks in League of Legends. So yeah, I almost covered everything beginner artist needs by just talking about the drawing fundamentals and stuff. So let's move on to another thing. There are other things as well when it comes to their beginner mindset, which is the detail matters. It is actually fun when you're making details to your drawing, but I'm sure it's really common that people really loves details. Well, it's true that details is really nice, but it is not necessary at all times. Details can also be distracting if you don't use it properly. If you put details to the entire canvas and don't have any single focal point to it, the people who look at your drawing doesn't know where to look first or what the artwork is trying to say or something. Of course, this does not apply to any art like doodling, but it applies to most art. You need to have a focal point so that they knew what they're looking. Use the details to control their vision so that they will look something you want them to look. So does it mean you don't have to put details on the side so that they won't look at it? Well, not really. Probably you just need to control it, like, desaturate it, or the most common thing is to blur it out or put lesser details on it, but not completely empty, because so much less could also be boring. Another thing beginner artist wants to do is to finish their artwork perfectly. Well, that's not really a bad mindset, but you really have to move on if there's something wrong with your art. I mean, if you saw something wrong, you can fix it for a bit, for a while, or after a day or something like that. I mean, after a couple of reviews to your own drawing, even if it is not perfect, you have to move on, because we improve constantly. And on your next drawing, make sure that to avoid those mistakes that you just saw and make something better. Just finish something even it's not perfect. I think I heard that before. I'm not sure where I heard it. I listened a lot to many art videos, art series, art interviews while working, so sometimes things will just come to me when I'm thinking a bunch of things like this. So let's move on to other thing. Afraid of references. Some artists think that reference is cheating. Also, some artists use it in the wrong way. There's actually a lot of going on reference stuff, but you should not be afraid to it. You don't have to follow it completely. Stealing is bad, but stealing like an artist is different. None of us is actually original. Especially nowadays, internet is very wide. We thought we knew something original, but what's really happening is maybe it's a mixture of what you saw from your past, or probably exactly the same thing what you saw from your past. Everything you saw stays in your subconscious memory. It is really tricky because we saw a lot of things every day. We don't remember everything, but unconsciously we kept it somewhere in our brain. That is why it is really important by just looking to any good artwork around us, and it will help us improve if we surround ourselves with good visual arts. I mean, you can also look to your friend's art, but make sure you look more on to those top tier art like your idols, even not your idols, even those unpopular artists around you don't see much, but they are actually good. Just try to visit art station. There's actually a lot of unpopular artists but actually are good in doing art. Another thing about reference is you should not be afraid on looking on it, because how can you learn a thing if you don't know everything about it? You always see things every day, right? But you don't remember everything, every details and its tiniest details. Maybe a bit, but not totally 100%. Unless you have a, gift of photographic memory. But really, reference helps you refresh your mind, just like, brainstorming or a group of people planning on things. A bunch of ideas coming in your mind will help you think of a better idea. Reference will also give you a proper details you need. Every artist needs reference, even those professional artists. Try to draw with reference and see how you improve that much. I am sure that there's something in your mind that you're actually good at, but it's just hidden somewhere in your brain, floating around waiting to be picked. Well, yes, you heard it right. Professional artists. Professional artists collects bunch of references before they even start something. References like photograph or a background or an environment or any kind of images you can find that maybe something you need on your drawing currently you're working on. So let's move on to other topic. Now, afraid on criticism. I know some of you are afraid by somebody will tell you that your art sucks. I understand that. But not all of them is like that. There's actually a constructive criticism, like giving you pointers how to improve, what to avoid, or something like that. Unfortunately, not all of them knows what they're doing or what they're saying, but you just have to open your mind for it. I mean, you can listen what you think can be good for you or can be bad for you. You can ignore some stuff which you might think is pointless, but also you have to be honest to yourself. You don't have to worry if you don't understand something, but just try to remember it. Try to remember it, and someday it will come out and realize that what they said is actually helpful. But hopefully everyone is telling you the right things, not the bad things. If you don't understand something, you can always ask. But if you still don't understand after they answer you with your questions, then that just means you haven't stepped into that area of learning. I mean, just like color theory. I don't know color theory first. I saw a bunch of it, but I don't understand it. At first, it's very complicated. But if you keep on looking to different tutorials, eventually someone will give you the right answer, or somebody might already give it to you, but you just didn't understand it yet. You are always free to come back to those feedback, to those criticism anytime you want, and hoping that once you return, you could understand those feedback that they give it to you. Maybe that's it for today, and I hope you learned something in this video, and if not, well, I'm sorry, but I really did my best. And the art you just saw recently is a commission sample. I made some commission sample for commission, so that's something they can see or whatever. And shout out to Axel Flores for supporting me, the admin of Animator PH. You can subscribe, and remember that everything interconnects. Learn to value everything as a group, not just the single best thing, because small things is very helpful to larger things. But really, if you think about it, in games, damage dealer is nothing without the tank. You cannot complete a million without a 1. And of course, there's always triangle to everything. Just kidding. I mean, that's not making any sense, but really, if you think about it, there's almost always triangle to everything. Like rule of thirds is one of the common thing, triangular stuff, whatever. So thank you for watching, and I hope you learned something in this video, and don't forget to subscribe, man. How can I end this vlog ending? If one of you is willing to support me, you're always welcome to go to my Gumroad channel and buy any artworks available that I have on its highest resolution for $1 only, or more if you're very generous enough to give me more. And some of it includes PSD file if ever you wish to play around with my artwork. Your support will give me motivation to create more YouTube videos to deliver more content for you in the future. For more updates, you can follow my Instagram account, Lucky-kyun Art, or my Facebook as well, Lucky-kyun Art.